So hello again. Uh, in this fireside chat, we're going to be talking about Dorfner. It's a 130-year-old family-owned Bavarian business that mines and refines industrial minerals. And it's one of the few companies globally that has succeeded in using AI to transform its business. Corporates around the world have spent billions implementing cutting-edge AI, but according to studies, only a small percent are reaping returns. An August report from MIT, for example, found that only about 5% of Gen AI pilot programs achieved rapid revenue acceleration. The vast majority of these pilots deliver little to no measurable impact on P&L. So Dorfner, a mid-sized company which owns one of the most significant kaolin and silica sand deposits in Germany and traditionally leverages the mine materials to sell functional fillers for paints, composite materials, and construction materials, is proving to be an unlikely leader. Its journey offers valuable insights into how the technology can transform traditional industries by improving efficiency, making them more sustainable, and reshaping future business models. Thanks to AI, Dorfner has morphed into a company offering a sole product and raw material to one that additionally offers services that help its clients solve supply chain issues, cut costs, and become greener. It's additionally functionalizing new categories of products, offering its tech tools and know-how to startups, and aiding Germany's old economy companies to use AI in new ways. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mirko Mondan, a serial entrepreneur who was recruited by the family as acting CEO with a mission to strengthen the core while finding new sources of business. So let's take a look at the company's progress. Can we have the slide with the figures? Okay, very impressive. Let's look at how you got there, Mirko. So cleaning data and implementing AI in a way that makes a difference to the bottom line is really hard, and few companies have done it well. How did you do it, and how long did it take?
Thank you for this nice introduction at first, and it's a pleasure for me also again to see you here. I think the story that our journey started, let's say, very early comparing to the classical German Mittelstand, and it has nothing to do with AI at first. So it is a clear strategy case that you know, and I will come to the point what our, let's say, sense of urgency was. The mine, for your information, the mine is, so the company is 130 years old, and the mine, let's say the longevity of the mine is limited, yeah? And it means for us actually, our business model is based on these raw materials. And we needed, on the one hand, to find something, a solution for this, and on the other hand, during COVID, we saw that supply chain problems, pigments or things that we are formulating for our products were not available. And we have a small labs in the units, and we saw that we don't have the speed to ramp up to get the new products in. And I think the third point was we were looking at the value chain very clearly, and in the refinement where we are, there is a formulation thing, and this is where we make 3x, 4x in value. And there is actually, this was the starting point for us to dig in deeper. Yeah? And it's, I can say there was a moment when I understood what is the core capacity of the company. This was, I was going to basement, and in German we say Schonarbeitsplatz. The people who work in the mine, the last few years, they are sit on a workspace that is not, it's not bothering them too much. And they were sitting in front of a computer with 40 years of lab data. And it was a very old Windows system, so I was afraid when I started the program. And the thing is, what I saw there is the accuracy, how the company, the DNA of the company, how we were defining raw materials ourselves. So, and why am I saying this? Because I saw that we are describing a sand with 50 attributes. And when you look at this from the data point from AI, this is proprietary data no one else has in the world. Maybe some of our competitors are defining it differently, but this was the starting point. So on the one hand, value, where comes the value from? Where is the biggest need? And a third is, where do we have an edge? And this was the beginning of it. Yeah.
So how did the implementation of the technology lead to your aha moment when you realized that your data about chemical formulations could be gathered and organized in a database and AI applied to that data to help with reformulations that could serve as alternatives or be more sustainable? How has that idea transformed the business, leading to the use of 60% less mineral deposits?
Okay, that's let's put it that way. I reformulated the biggest problem of the company in a mathematical equation, and we have, just for the explanation, we have 3 minerals. If you excavate a ton in different fractions, different qualities, so you need to sell everything, you refine everything. How can you grow in such a coupled production? Because the most valuable mineral is only 10% content, and the others that are less valuable. So, and my hypothesis then was we need to find out what the most critical or the most valuable mineral does in the formulation, because that's the reason why we are taking it out from the soil. And this is where it started, and I can say again some not AI related things have were needed to be decision taking, and it was for example I told you we wanted to build it ourselves, yeah, start a platform. Then when we looked at it, how big this thing is, we understood that we will just lose time building it, and we will not improve our domain-specific data in order to create value. So also a very clear value-based approach, and that's how we then started to. And actually, it was a coincidence to find this company in America. They had a maturity already with 8 years in this field, and there was a very confident guy. He came from Stanford, and he did some things before in this, and they didn't want to accept us as a client because we're too small. They only do multi-billion-dollar companies. And this was the moment actually when we see it was a hypothesis. And if you understand, I was coming new to the company. I thought myself, I can allow myself a mistake if it doesn't work. So, but what I want to add here is a very clear decision, but later started also. We did not use ChatGPT and all these tools because we were thinking, let's solve the biggest problem of the company with this technology. Yeah? And yeah, we took some decisions on the way that turned out to be right at the end. Yeah.
So, if I understand correctly, like what happened is, you figured out like that the company's value was in coming up with the formulations, right? And you were able to capture the data, the stuff that was in Excel sheets. You were able to like digitalize it. You were able to clean up that data. You went to an outside provider to get the AI applied to it. And then once all of that was in place, you were able to turn around to your customers, and instead of like shipping stuff from the mine to them from across the world, you could actually sell them the formula and tell them how to source the stuff locally, which makes you more sustainable overnight, makes your customers more sustainable, and gives you a new revenue stream.
Yes, and there's a layer above also, because the problem is you have a side condition. If you need to change the linear business model. So we were excavating the amounts, refining it, that's it. So and we calculated and we wanted to grow. So if you excavate more, you're seeing the end. So, and what we actually achieved with this, and I tell you why, because we found out very, very fast that we don't need so much material in a liter of paint, for example. So I give you an example. All relevant decorative paints, we are in every paint in the world we are formulated in, because we have a very good raw material. It's refined, and actually it is a base, it is a carrier in the formulation. And we found out, for example, that we need only 60%, and the rest you can put dead material that is recycled on spot. So it means it changes the total game of our positioning to the customer, but also, and the results are already, so this is already there. Since I started the company, we are now, as I said, 55% less material, but we are growing in turnover. And this is, let's say, when we speak about transformation, at some point it needs also to arrive, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. A little while ago, I moderated another panel on, for factories, the idea of like AI and humans working together. Change management is one of the hardest things for every company. And they all say it's not the tech that's hard, it's the change management, right? You've succeeded in bringing along your people. How did you do that? And what was the process? Because, people who work for a mine, they're not data scientists, right? So how did you do this?
Actually, I was thinking about it, how to build up the team and how to work, how to give them the skill set. And we used, it's a program by Unternehmertum and the Bavarian state. And actually we had a use case there to train 9 months. And we put around 12 people from different, let's say, different departments. We installed them as literally as change agents. So young guys, already 3 to 5 years experience. And we found out, in the first 2 weeks we saw that they're all capable to do this. And now I'll tell you why it was better to buy and not to build, because they had the time to develop their skill set. Otherwise, this is again a year later, and if you see an exponential curve, a year is a lot of value then. And I think when I come to the concept, because what I think now is we are going away now from use case based. We are building now the platform for the human AI transformation in the company, and this is a different approach that I did then, because I was the chief AI officer till last week, so I gave it away to someone, okay. Because we treat this differently. So it's a cross-functional team. When I'm in the team, I can decide everything. The people did not learn how to decide about use cases, about investments, and this is something that we parked on the side. We were just going for the value, and now we build it to really make them think about AI and really use it. I mean, it's a 5 years project, yeah? But I understood how different it is from the leader-centric approach to the structure and organizational approach to transform an organization. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you're now sharing your expertise and your technology with a German startup called Miss Pompadour, to help it formulate its own decorative paint for do-it-yourself projects. It's very unusual for a German traditional old economy Mittelstand company to actually be supplying like technology to a startup. So tell us about how that happened and what you're doing with them.
Okay, the unfair advantage I have, I was a startup entrepreneur many years, so I understood a bit their logic, and it was a bit coincidence, but I made an hypothesis to say they are growing like hell, and they literally say they created a brand, and they are growing really crazy, and they were buying paint just in their boxes from our customers. And my hypothesis there was, you can buy this thing 30% cheaper. So with your own formulation. So you don't order your paint, you go there and say, this is my formulation, please produce it for me. Because in the meantime, they had the volume. And then we negotiated the deal, and so we looked at it, and it was fascinating, really. 6 months later, they are now, I think I can tell this here, yesterday was the announcement, a big DIY chain in Germany is taking them as the main supplier in all stores, and this is our formulation already inside. So this is, it was a mutual effect. On the one hand, they have now the recipes, This is because different when of course they will sell the company in 1-2 years. When you sell it and you have your own recipes, then you are linked to some supplier. And what I knew at this time, a paint producer would never be interesting for them to invest now. And that's why we have all the customers and we are not disturbing the value chain. and that's why we did it.
Well, it's interesting because with my publication, The Innovator, I did a story about Dorfner, and I talked to Miss Pompadour, and they explained to me that, they make decorative paint they primarily target women who are doing do-it-yourself, decorative projects at home, and they need to be able to respond to trends, and so they have to come up with the new colors very, very quickly. And they told me that working with the traditional paint industry in Germany, that it would take a couple of years to come up with a new paint, and that they were able to do everything with Dorfner in 6 months, and that it was a game changer in the industry for them, and also because they own the recipes, they can go easily into other countries because they have to adjust the formula to each country's regulations, and they said that no large paint company can operate as fast as they can, so they have a competitive advantage now.
And also a technology advantage, because now materials are changing, and if you go all the old way, it takes so much time. Yeah, we had a case now when something in a specification needed to be changed, and it affected all the formulation. Literally, we changed 3 data points, and the result was there. So it is with an accuracy rate of, in this case, 98 point something. We solved the problem, and then we just tested at the customers 2-3 times, and in the iteration we see that it works. So this is something that is really this is an advantage, and I think the vision here is because they have different target groups and different applications, and the reality now this was what we learned. They want not a normal paint; they want a paint that you can put on every material, and the paint producers, they cannot formulate this. This is what we learned. Yes, and this was really interesting when I said, okay, you have another function, you have 7 functions, 8 and 9 doesn't work, because the one kills the other. And so there is this technology thing also coming.
So in addition to helping Ms. Pompadour derive the new paints and optimizing the price, performance, and sustainability of your own formulas, your platform gives the company the competence to use data to derive new use cases. Tell us about how you're applying AI to new raw materials and how this has helped the company significantly reduce its environmental footprint while at the same time growing the business.
Actually, the answer lays in the foundation that we were a raw material supplier, and now we are delivering a function in a formulation. And this is the difference. It means, and then we have a triangle: performance, price, sustainability. And you can literally say, for this country, I want this. We have the country layers, and we can literally make you optimize it. Yeah, and this is, the system is so well trained. This is a 15 minutes operation. So we did this now for India. This works perfect. It's, what I see, what is here, the catch for the future here, to formulate in new materials, residues, waste materials, and so on. And this is what we are building up now, because in a formulation that has a high value, you can always place materials of medium value or something, or that is there. You will always have a good profit in it. And we tested it already, and this you can apply actually all over the world. And we are just investing now in Hirscha. We have planned a plant, yeah, where literally the AI layer is above this factory, and the customer can really get for construction chemicals or for paints, literally not the raw material anymore, but the solution what he needs in the formulation. And that's the change.
So we have this expression in English about everything but this kitchen sink, but now you're also doing kitchen sinks, right?
Yeah, we were supplier to this. You mean this durable consumer goods? Yeah, we were supplier to this market for 35 years, and we were in the patent finding. Yeah, but we reduced our role back then to be the material supplier. So we are supplying in this field around 70% of the world market, and I understood that there is no growth for us anymore because the customers are getting so big and they need another supplier. You know, they just see, because we are growing too big with them, but this is not a growth that, let's say, feeds at least my ambitions or something. And then we started to build a digital twin of the production, and now we are optimizing the production cost, because we have For example, there's two different chemical methods how you do it. It's a casting process, and in one there's, let's say, a bunch of really, and they serve 50% of the market of really bad industrial companies. And we started actually very easy with optimizing we had like a tool, and we were looking just with a camera that detects the heat, how the polymerization goes. And there we cut out 10%. You know, it's simply, yeah. And so we are redefining everything that we did because we have labs like our customers. And yeah, it's a good feeling.
So but you're also now using your expertise in the AI to go into things that are really far afield from your traditional businesses, like you're helping BMW and some other German Mittelstand companies to do some new things with AI. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. First of all, the strategic implication was if we let's say take care about the core and go into new things. For these new things, we needed access to ecosystems, yeah? And we cannot do this with our workforce in Hirschau. This was then clear that we will have a small unit, here very close to the technical university. We also hired some engineers. And actually, I don't know if I told you this, I gave them the first two cases. Was literally, I invented some ideas that they crafted in, just to see, to start the process. Because here's the biggest, I think you cannot combine those two cultures, but there is intersections where you need to find good, and this is, I think, what we managed well, and what you're speaking about is ergonomics, is an interesting project that we develop also here at the TUM, which is actually monitoring postures of workforce in the production, and can tell you if there's a damage coming or whatever. Because we speak about process mining and all, but no one mines the person itself. And we saw there a case, and actually, as of now, we have first customers. But what is more interesting to have, I think, in a transformation like we do this in an ambidextrous, it turns out that you have two different velocities in the company. Yeah? And it's interesting when they come together. Yeah? You know, at first they couldn't even speak. They didn't know how to. And now we are integrating it, yeah, slowly. But yeah, and why are we doing this? Because we want to have a group of people who understand technology. Yeah? Yeah, who understand technology, and this is now really an advantage for us because now we changed our ERP system, and it's crazy how they can help us in the core business, yeah? Do some automation or even do some startup stuff that is interesting for us, and I think there's many more to come.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes left. What advice do you have for old economy companies that want to embrace AI, based on your experience of the last few years?
First of all, strategy before AI. You know, I would not go just. I've seen, and I'm saying this. I was literally speaking with 120 to 130 good German Mittelstand companies. They wanted to ask us how we did it, and what you see there is often. What you see often is that they go on tools. They didn't think about the value chain. Because a lot of people forget in this, where do I earn the money and where am I really good at? So, and this is also the next advice, go into where you're good at, your value proposition that you have, or where you have unique advantages, or, and this is something that I reflected on, or where you will lose soon knowledge because people retire. And this was exactly the case here. So now it's in a machine. Now, everyone can use it, there's some more. I think new resources. You need really to build the resources to not play on it. It's a resource allocation. It's a management task. It has nothing to do with AI. And I think one thing is maybe because there's a few more, but one thing that I really thought about, the management shall really question themselves what their profile is. Did they spend time? Because this is not, for me, this is a changing technology. You cannot delegate it. I see so many things, delegating it, N-3. It's not working. Because there's a person, he's totally ambitious, but he doesn't have the team. He cannot decide it. I mean, poor guy. And this is something really I say, see what you know in this, invest your time. So did I, yeah, so did I. invest your time to learn. This was many years ago. I told you I went to America and studied. I saw then all libraries with AI books. I said, okay, this is something I need to see what's happening. But you need to spend some time, and I think, and if you have blue-collar workers, I think you need to define what AI is doing with their jobs, because there is a very big fear. It's not like in management, people understand, but there is a big fear because of not knowing what it does, and that's why I think defining what it does and clearly speaking out. I wrote every employee a letter that is making their workplace just safer and better. And I think these are so cultural stuff, leadership stuff, but purely strategy. I think good applied AI starts with strategy.
You heard it here. We're out of time. Please give a nice round of applause to Mirko.
Thank you. Thank you.